things that are back. Things have returned to normal.
Back.
And we're going to do this,
at least for now,
thanks to Damn O'Gay, presented by Under Armour.
I'm okay. Damn. I'm okay. Yeah, no, I mean, yes, I'm okay. The legal gambleizing. Oh, baby. I am Chris Simms. I'm okay. Damn.
Okay.
Okay.
So the first thing that is back, just when we started to doubt them, just when we started to say maybe they're not going to figure it out this year.
Right.
Maybe that offense is just not what it used to be and will never be what it used to be. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, they ripped the Raiders 41-14. So Mahomes goes for 406 yards, 5 touchdowns. He had 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions in his previous 5 games combined. So they're back. Safe to say that all problems are fixed. He looked healthier. The offense looked good. Now, the Raiders' defense is, historically the past few years not been very good.
Yeah, not great.
Been better recently.
Better,
Max
coached
Crosby
well,
has
right?
caused
Been able
some
to
problems.
get pressure on people, him and Yannick Ngakoue, sure.
So the fact that they not only torched the defense, but torched them and did it in spectacular fashion in prime time on NBC, that's a huge step in the right direction for them. What do you think of that?
Huge step. I'm not going to sit here and go, I think they're fixed. But, I mean, I no doubt was the best game of their season to this point. I think when you just look at both sides of the ball and what they did. First off, I mean, again, everybody out there, you've been listening to me, what I've been saying on the podcast, the plays I've been breaking down, and I think that's kind of caught fire around, the rest of the NFL media where people have realized that, we didn't want to kind of blame it on Patrick Mahomes at first. And, I don't ever want to make it about the quarterback. I don't. And it's certainly not been great around him in some aspects. I know that. But that was the best game he played all year long as far as just accurate throws, clean decisions. I mean, I think he only had 1, maybe 2 dicey decisions on the night, maybe 1 that could have been intercepted. He had a ball down the middle. But I think it just got back to everything we've talked about. On a lot of the Wednesday, what the happened podcasts, it's been him leaving the pocket too early, him not staying true to the read, going wait, number 1's open. Why are you already looking at number 2? Why did you predetermine or make up your mind that 1 wasn't going to be open? That, let alone some questionable decisions outside the pocket and turnovers that have led to, less than stellar play. For the last few weeks, the defense has been getting better. I know they didn't play a lot of great offenses, but I do think you could substantially look at it and go, ooh, things have stopped a little bit. They're challenging people at the line of scrimmage more as far as putting people there. They're covering on the back end, I think, playing a little bit more man-to-man. Earlier in the year, they were a lot into, we're going to disguise and blitz, and they would drop out and play zone coverages and do that, and they kept getting toasted. So that stopped, but I think the main driving force, of course, was Mahomes and what they did. And, really, for the night, it just was everything that we've all talked about in the NFL around the Chiefs. Can they be patient? Can he stay true to the reads? Can they continue just to be boring and go, fine, it's 11-play drive, 11-play drive, 11-play drive. Who cares? And then as what we saw as the night went on, finally the Raiders finally went, okay, they're patient tonight. We got to start coming up and being a little bit more aggressive. And we saw a few shots down the field, too, that hit. So if they can stick with that, of course they're going to be dangerous. I'm not ready to stamp it and go they're back yet because I feel like we've had a few moments this year where we kind of gone, oh, okay, I see some light at the end of the tunnel. Here we go. And the next week it falls off. So I guess I'd like to see one more week of execution to that level.
Yeah, the Chiefs went 3 and out on their opening drive. And I was like, here we go again.
So did I.
And then they never punted again after that. Here's their scoring drives if you're watching on YouTube or Peacock as well. Touchdown, field goal, touchdown, field goal, touchdown after that. And they were long drives, too. You got an 11-play drive, 10-play, 13-play drive.
That's the key to the whole thing where again, that's what we've all been talking about. Yeah, they were spoiled. The first 3-4 years of the Patrick Mahomes experiment, I mean, yeah, they were talented. They were aggressive down the field. And the league, really when Mahomes came to the league was a little bit more into the dink and dunking passing attack, and it caught everybody as a surprise. They're used to big plays. They're used to the kind of the greatest show on turf, but they do that right there. That'll get them a step closer to being back to the greatest show on turf because, it's just at some point defenses are going to go, okay, we can't die slow deaths like this. They're obviously willing and mature enough and patient enough to make it happen, and that was awesome to see. I think that added to the pass protection. I mean, I wanted to go Mac Crosby and Yannick Ngakoue. I mean, did they play last night? Did they play? And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to them.
No,
but
I know Crosby played because he got that penalty.
He got the penalty, right? But I mean, other than that, again, there just was no moment of the game where you felt like, wow, he's really under pressure. The O-line got it going. They're running the ball just enough to kind of keep you honest in that department, and spread the ball around a lot too. I think that would be the other thing I look at as far as just you couldn't just staple it down to one or two guys, and that's because he listened to the offense. He listened to the defense, I should say, and he went where they told him to go. It's like playing chess or checkers. I mean, you don't just make a move and go, well, I just want to move here because I want to move here. No, you got to listen to the board sometimes and go, wait, this guy did this. I got to do this accordingly off of that. And I think that's what jumped out about the Chiefs last night.
Addy M27 thinks he identified a turning point in Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
He goes, damn okay, Patrick Mahomes back to his old self. I feel like the turning point was the last throw he made versus the Packers. Do you agree?
Ooh, well, it could be a little bit of a jump off, no doubt.
Get his groove back a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he certainly was excited. That was a big play, off schedule, running to his right. He's talking about that third down that sealed the deal against the Packers. That might have been something that kind of just got them off and made them feel good. But that first touchdown drive, I feel like you just saw the momentum kind of creeping along as the night went along last night. And the game was 41-14, and really, I don't know, it might have been going in a worse direction than that if Hughes doesn't fumble the punt return at one point. But I just think, all in all, that was the big thing I looked at. We broke it down on the Peacock show a little bit. Mahomes stayed in the pocket throughout the night. You could see his eyes were in the right place all night long, and the Raiders really had no answer for it. And the Raiders and Gus Bradley, traditionally have given them a tough time because they play, the deep dropping Seattle scheme, and they'll play some quarters coverage, the coverages that we've seen them have issues with. But you see right here with the spray chart, I mean, he was willing last night to take the 10, the 8, the 5 all night long and wasn't going to force the issue.
Yep. And the Raiders, despite all that, I mean, they had a chance in this game. Deshaun Jackson's got that long pass completion.
Right, we thought we were ready for a shootout there for a minute.
And then he fumbles immediately over.
And that was a game.
The game was over.
Right
and then
there.
the Chiefs stayed aggressive with the fake punt, the pass by Tommy Townsend. Good,
right.
Not a bad throw for a punter.
Very good throw.
Little low,
great call.
Spiral.
I mean, again, sometimes you coach, you got to jumpstart your team a little bit or help your team put a team away right there and then knowing wait, this is the moment. Yeah. It's 27-14. We floundered out on that drive, but our offense has been pretty good right now. They found the exact right punt return formation. But I think that, like I said, along with the way the defense played, it was their best game of the year by far.
And Darrell Williams with one of the best catches that we'll see all season long from a running back.
Yes. There's no doubt the
one-on-one
one
of the best catches.
That's
receiver, running
we
back
started to see Mahomes type magic a little last night.
Yeah.
Again,
gain that confidence.
Gain confidence. Look great. I'm not trying to take anything away, but I spent my Saturday morning again. I'm just going to dive down there one more time. Looking at tape of him from last year for some plays from Peacock that we were going to show last night in case he didn't play well. I was going to kind of show here, this is the difference of him last year, and I don't know, just that to my naked eye, he still doesn't quite look the same. I'm just going to say that. There's something off as far as the way he's throwing the ball a little bit, and the movement does look different. I know I've said that all year long. People probably think I'm crazy.
No, there was a play. I think it was against the Packers where it's like he's running out of bounds, and you can tell he just steps awkwardly, and then he's limping a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a little.
It's not the same.
Might be something,
but either way, doesn't matter. The way he played last night, and if he plays in the pocket like that, they're going to be very tough to beat.
And he utilized Travis Kelce, 8 catches, season high, 119 yards. Randy Darsh, 350.
Yeah.
Hey Simms, love the podcast.
What up,
he's buttering you up.
Yes.
He might be trying to tear you down here. Be aware of that. It seems like every season you're looking for someone to take over the best tight end title from Travis Kelce, whether it's Kittle, Waller, even Kyle Pitts. Is this like the Aaron Donald effect of getting bored of crowning a guy? In any case, he's still incredible.
He's still incredible. There's no doubt about that. I guess there is. You're always kind of looking for that new guy that you think can jump up over them. I think Kittle being in the prime of his career, a little bit what he can do after the catch, yeah, it excites me. But, I mean, he can't stay available and healthy. He's certainly a better blocker than Travis Kelce. And, Waller, of course, the start he got off to, he's such a big specimen, kind of being in the prime of his career. Yeah, I think their high-end talent is probably greater than his right now. But, the one thing with Kelce, he's consistent. He's always out there healthy. And where he's really special is he just has a tremendous feel and instinct of the game, of, like, just where to sit or where to uncover if Mahomes is moving in the pocket. And that, to me, is where they're so deadly. Mm-hmm. And it was good to see that connection kind of get back, on track last night.
There's one more thing that I want to talk about with this game, and it involves Travis Kelce. It also involves Darren Waller. There was a tweet after the game. This one coming from Jerry MCD, who's been covering the Raiders forever when they're in Oakland. And so if you're watching on YouTube or Peacock right now, you got Waller and Kelce. They're on the field. They've exchanged jerseys. And Jerry's been covering this rivalry. And this is a rivalry. Raiders-Chiefs. I mean, one of the most, if you were to say, what's the most hated rivalry in football, this might be.
It's up there.
This might be one of them.
Yes.
Perhaps the top one. Jerry goes, I love the way both these guys play, but can you imagine any Raiders and Chiefs trading jerseys with big smiles in the 1970s after one team blew out the other? Different eras. And I do feel like there's a little bit of tension with the way that end of game, and I've seen this throughout the year. It was when the Lions got blown out by the Eagles. I know some people talked about the fact that, their players were out there shaking hands, exchanging jerseys. That's not a big deal, and maybe it is a different time, and maybe some fans don't care. But I think that's something to keep an eye on, because at the moment that you get a feeling like the players don't care as much as you do as a fan, win or lose, or don't have that same gut-wrenching feeling after a loss, it is a little bit of dangerous territory.
I understand that. I understand the thought all the way. I get it. Just because they take a picture doesn't mean like Darren Waller didn't go home and wasn't disappointed and pissed off in his car ride home that night, and didn't mean he went out and partied and was just like, oh, f*** it. We lost, so what? No. Again, I think aren't we out of a point here in 2021 where you can be both? Like, you can be like, wait, I admire you. You had a great game tonight. I only play in this league for so long. Let's swap jerseys and do that. Like, it could still be, highly competitive and personal with that. Now, is it the same way in the 70s or 80s? No, it's never going to go back that way. It's over. I'm sorry. That's gone. I've talked about this a lot, in other podcasts. One, the world has changed as far as social media. A lot of these guys know each other through social media. Two, they all end up at camps, or this Nike camp, this Under Armour camp, this Adidas camp, this 7-on-7 thing. Oh, we're having the tight end summit. We're having the pass rushing summit, to where there's really some, I don't want to say a little bit of a friendship that's struck up, or at least a little personal relationship. That didn't go on in the 80s. I could speak from my dad's era. He wasn't like hanging out with other players and doing that. So, let alone how you come up through high school and college.
Right.
You're at all these 7-on-7 camps, these recruiting things. So you're seeing these people a lot more. And the other aspect to why we'll never get back to the 70s or Eagles Giants of the 80s or any of that, again, is because of free agency and the salary cap. The league is equal now. That's why it's crazy. It's fun. But back then it was not equal. I could tell you the 5 teams that were going to win the Super Bowl every year. Every year, it wasn't equal. You knew who was going to win the Super Bowl in the 70s and 80s. You could boil it down to a 6-team league and go, it's going to be one of them. And so there's that aspect. So, but yeah, do you lose the personal aspect? Yeah, you do, because free agency and the salary cap makes people change teams so much.
Sure.
I've talked about this with my dad before. Like, my dad hated the 49ers in the 80s. He hated them, like, personally, professionally, everything. It was the same guys on the team year after year after year. So it does become personal, where you're like, wait, it's Joe Montana and Jerry Rice and Ronnie Lott, and I'm sick of them looking at me when they're beating me and talking shit, and I hate them. And so that aspect is not the same anymore, and I don't think we're ever going to get it back.
And I think you can argue that sports is better when there's that hate, because sports is not real life. This is the alternate reality, right? It's like you can't do that in real life, but in sports, you can have a little hate. And I do think that's part of the tension with the taunting penalties, because I think people are like, man, finally I'm seeing like these guys have a little disdain for the opponent. And now the NFL is taking the taunting away. Now you can't even shove it in someone's face, because this is not real life.
No, I know.
This is is sports. So just something to kind of like think about.
I wish they could find a way. We're going on a different topic, but I don't care. It's a good one, I think. I wish they could find a way to keep the core players of a franchise team or a team on their franchise.
100%.
I think we've talked about this a little bit, like with basketball, how they have that. Like, if you could maybe mark 5-6 guys on the team and go, there are franchise guys, right?
Yes.
It's not or franchise guys, and if we give them $100 million, it only counts at $70 million against a cap, right?
Yep.
Something like that. That might be able to, strike up a little bit of the personal, hate once again.
Yep.
But it's hard to hate guys and do all that when, okay, Travis Kelce might have hated Darren Waller. Damn, he's breathing down my neck. But a few players from the Raiders come over to the Chiefs and they tell him how good of a guy Darren Waller is. And then Darren Waller one day's on the phone with one of those guys in the locker room.
Sure.
And they go, hey, here's Kelce. And they talk. And it's like, well, yeah, it's hard to hate the guy now. Like, I wanted to hate him, but I can't.
Yeah.
So that's where, the world has become smaller that way. And it's taken away from some of that, hate and the rivalries. No doubt about it.
Maybe just keep the love behind closed doors. Maybe don't show it.
Maybe I hear what you're saying.
Maybe some of these players actually hate their own teammates more because they're taking playing time away and taking money away from them.
Well,
who
listen,
knows?
I can promise you, though, just because they take a picture like that has no bearing on how they feel after the game or anything. They can be both. They can be sportsmen and show good sportsmanship and love the game and love a guy they're competing against and still be mad and pissed off as hell that they lost the game and didn't play their best.
You know who might have been mad and pissed off after last week?
Who?
The Dallas Cowboys.
Ooh.
Because they showed it on the field in our other game of who's back. The Dallas Cowboys offense is back. They defeat the Falcons 43-3. On Wednesday's podcast, you said, this is out of your mouth, you said you were not worried about the Cowboys offense long term.
No. The Cowboys offense, it wasn't physically dominated last week against the Denver Broncos. They messed up a few situations. And as I said last week, Dak Prescott was off his game. Just like we saw yesterday. I don't give a damn who you are. Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott, Peyton Manning, if you haven't played a long time or practiced in a while, you're not going to be able to go on the field and just, this is like riding a bike and I'm just going to kick butt right from the get-go. No, you're not. We saw Wilson and Rodgers struggle yesterday, big time. But I think, hey, Dallas absolutely overwhelmed them on both sides of the football. Last week they couldn't get off the field on defense, and they couldn't stay on the field on offense with 3rd and 4th down conversions. Yesterday they drive the ball. They get a touchdown. Atlanta tries to come back, go for it on a 4th and 7 in field goal territory, which again I don't love. I'm just going to sit there and tell you I don't love it. It's 7-3. I don't understand that. We don't want to just make it 7-6.
Yeah.
I'm still a little confused.
Although in retrospect they needed to score 44 points.
Well,
so maybe it was the right
but
call.
how do you also not know that wasn't the jump off point there? You gave your team nothing positive, and there's another team that had something positive, now a double positive because you have the 4th down stop, and they go down, and now they make it 14-3. And then the next drive, hey, they stop them, and they convert another 4th down throw, and the game got out of hand, and then block a punt. Atlanta's one of those teams that, they're not super talented. They're coached well, but they need the game to be played a certain way for them to win a football game. And Dallas yesterday on the offensive side of the ball definitely got back on track. And you saw their defensive line and company really just all over Matt Ryan all day. And Falcons offense just could never get any rhythm or anything going at all.
Dak Prescott with 2 touchdowns. Both of his touchdown passes were versus the blitz per Pro Football Focus. He has 15 touchdowns versus the blitz this season. Second most is Tom Brady with 9. So Dak has the most. Don't blitz him. Don't blitz this offense.
Well, yeah, duh. You can't blitz him. First off, they have a great offensive line. Second off, he doesn't care. He doesn't get affected by pressure, Dak Prescott. He's big, so he doesn't care about getting hit. He's athletic, so if he feels like he's got to move a little bit when pressure's coming, so what? And then ultimately, what's the biggest issue? You blitz, you're going to leave people on the back end compromised, and they got weapons galore. So it's a well-coached team that has got, again, an elite offense that will be able to is barring injury, going to be able to move the ball on anybody. Am I going to sit here and tell you I still think their defense is top-notch? No, but their energy, the creativity Dan Quinn brings, and their physicality covers up a lot, and they just totally overwhelmed Atlanta yesterday.
Dan Quinn, medicine man, beats his former
good for
team.
Him. Way to go, Dan
Even
Quinn.
and they stepped up without DeMarcus Lawrence, right?
Yeah.
They didn't have Randy Gregory.
Right.
So a guy by the name of Dorrance Armstrong
Dorrance Armstrong, number 92. Yeah,
one
he's a
sack,
player.
3 pressures.
Yep.
Blocked the punt before the half.
Micah Parsons was at the end of the line of scrimmage a bunch again yesterday, kind of playing a defensive end, stand-up linebacker role. They found a way to get it done. And, again, Atlanta, Cordell Patterson got hurt. What was that, Pete, if you can remember? I mean, I think he got hurt maybe in like the second quarter. Maybe it was first quarter. And they're already, limited in the weapon department. They ride Pitts and Cordell Patterson too hard as it is to begin with. No Calvin Ridley there. There's not a lot to offer. Yeah. So that's a big thing for them altogether. Atlanta's one of those teams. They're 4-5. I give them a lot of respect. I don't really think they're that good. I don't. Maybe they'll sneak into the playoffs. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the Atlanta fans or fan base or anybody down there. I get that, but I just don't see anything like – I don't see any light at the end of the tunnel to go, oh, they're 4-5, but watch out. They might be able to go on a run here and be 9-5 or 10-5 at some point. No.
But hold on. One good thing for Atlanta is they held Dak Prescott to 296 yards. Now, I think Dak did not play the whole fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But in this week's edition of Stats Lie,
right.
Atlanta is one of 3 teams to not allow a 300-yard passer so far this season. So you'd think like, wow, elite defense, or maybe it's just because they can get up early on you and run all over you. They don't have to throw the ball.
That's what I would say. I mean, the Eagles kind of whooped that ass, and they didn't have to play much in the fourth quarter. The Buccaneers did that, and they're lost. They went at 48-25. They called off the Dogs.
If you have a bad enough run defense, you can have an elite pass defense because people just don't do it against you.
Well, yeah, you're right. You're right. And, you really look at it. They haven't played, other than Brady, they've played the Giants, the Washington, the Jets, Miami, Carolina, New Orleans. No great passing attack other than the Bucs and the Cowboys. And the game got out of hand to where, like you just said, quarterback didn't have to play the fourth quarter, so they didn't get to, add to their stats as was.
Any idea the other 2 teams that have not given up a 300-yard passing game this year? The other 2 are actually legit good teams.
All right, so
you got Atlanta in there, and you got 2 other teams.
Okay, all right, hold on. Give me a second here. Let me just think about this. I'm not looking at schedules. I'm just looking at standings right here.
You're looking at the teams.
Looking at the teams.
As Chris often does, he'll bring up the teams.
I want to say Patriots.
Patriots, no.
No, somebody threw for 300 on Patriots.
Someone threw for 300 against them.
Okay. Buffalo.
Buffalo is one.
Right. Okay. Now, the other one, 300-yard passers. Gosh, did New Orleans? Who am I missing here? You said it's a good team, right?
Good team.
It's NFC.
And a good defense that we'll be talking about later in this podcast. NFC.
Carolina? No. Who is it?
Green Bay Packers.
I should have known. Green Bay's defense has not gotten enough respect from me or a lot of people, so I can understand that, no doubt.
They will here soon.
Yeah.
But now we're going to go to that other team you mentioned that has not given up a 300-yard passer, the Buffalo Bills.
Right.
Their own guy had a good game at quarterback, Josh Allen. They beat the Jets 45-17. So, no, they did not allow Mike White to throw for 400 yards. Maybe you were right. He was who you thought he was, Mike White, with the 4 interceptions here. But, I mean, this was just another dominant performance by Buffalo. A week after losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars 9-6, they bounced back in all facets, 45 points, almost 500 yards of total offense. And if you're watching on YouTube or Peacock, those 2 guys had a game, Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, just tearing up that secondary for the Jets.
Yeah.
A bounce-back game for the Bills.
Bounce-back game. I think a good jump-off for their offense to kind of get back going once again, no doubt. Hey, listen, I'll even say yesterday, there's a lot of big plays there. There's a lot of good. Don't get me wrong. But the Buffalo offense, I don't come away. Again, the Jets defense is struggling. There's not a great pass rusher. Their corner position is simply it's compromised there.
Yeah.
You can see they've kind of fallen apart on that side of the ball here as of late. All right. The one thing I'll say too, even though yesterday I know it's a lot of good stats, I don't see a ton of execution.
Whoa.
I know.
Whoa.
I see a lot of big plays.
All right, I'm going to throw another stat at you. They
go
had
ahead.
9.06 yards per play.
I know.
Second best in franchise history.
I know, but see, this is where I look at it a little different limp. It's awesome. And they got some awesome players. And they got arguably the most physically gifted quarterback in all of the NFL. And Stephon Diggs, of course, is a top 10 receiver in football. But what I would love to do, and again, I don't know, I need to watch the film back, but to me, it still was very big play centric.
There were a lot of big plays in the passing game. It was a lot
of, oh, wait, Diggs is one-on-one, and I'm going to throw the perfect ball. Diggs is one-on-one, and he's going to burn that guy's ass and make him toast. That, to me, does not – you're not going to get away with that against the better defenses is all I'm saying. It's still really good. It's hopefully something they can build on. It was good to see Josh Allen and Diggs kind of reconnect, and maybe they can, fire up the connection there once again. But to me, that is something that did jump out, even though I know it was an awesome football game. So it's great for Buffalo on that side of the ball. Matt Breida did add something to their offense a little bit.
But he came out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. Well, I think he's been banged up and hurt. So, but they need somebody like that. And I thought he was really good in the passing game. Like even on, let's just say, the first touchdown. That play wasn't intended to be that. I don't know if you remember or saw it. Like Josh Allen drops back. He steps up in the pocket. And Breida was just running a swing route. Like it was supposed to be, oh, wait, I'm going to look to the middle, to the left, to the back, and throw it there. Nobody was open. Nobody. Then Josh Allen just bought some time, and Breida was like, well, I guess I'll just keep running up the sideline. It wasn't the play.
Yeah.
And then Josh Allen just like, I'm stepping up in the pocket. Here comes the sidearm laser for a 35-yard touchdown. Boom. And we're all like, man, they're awesome offense. But I just want to go, that's players making plays, not necessarily execution like we saw the Chiefs offense make last night, or what you have to do, to me, to get to the Super Bowl. So it's still that little concern, but still a lot of positives. There's no doubt. I'm not trying to be a total hater here. I know
you're being
I
a
sound
little
like
bit
that.
of a hater. It was almost like Sean McDermott called you and was like, "Hey, Chris, why don't you talk us down a little bit?
Pump the brakes on us.
Pump the brakes so that."
But
we don't
they
get a
had
big
the
hit.
little speed sweep reverses. They ran the ball a little bit.
Creative
in
the running game. Yeah,
yes.
they did. They had 4 different players score rushing touchdowns in the game.
I like that a lot.
And Josh Allen, 305 of his 366 yards were off the play action.
Right.
So that's the second most ever in the next-gen era for a quarterback.
Wow.
So they did use the run game to kind of – and maybe that is something. I mean, we've been talking about for 2 years now how they got to find something in the running game.
100%.
I mean, Matt Breida, a healthy Matt Breida, one of the fastest guys in the NFL, right? He can give him something.
He can definitely give him something. Again, they don't need to reinvent the wheel running the ball. A little bit like we've talked about with Kansas City. They got to give you something else to think about. It can't just be Josh Allen and Diggs making stuff happen. And I think what we saw there yesterday is you just sprinkle in a few little new ideas and things for the defense to think about, it can really open up the field for them. And that was good. And again, when Josh Allen is playing like that, to me, it's one of the best watches in football. It's like watching Mahomes when he's on fire or Rodgers on fire. You just go, oh my gosh, is he serious with that throw and like that move and that throw, or throw the ball from that angle? It's really great. And then, hopefully we can now, again, this is not personal to Mike White. I root for him.
CV Esper beats. Right. Victory lap for Chris, because now the New York media can stop with the Mike White is better than Zach Wilson crap.
My gosh. Shut the up, Jets fans. I'm dead serious. That is personal to you, Jet fans. You lost your damn mind in the last few weeks. You lost your damn minds, all right? And I've been saying that to my friends, too. I'm not negative on Mike White. I know I probably sound that way, because I had one of my Jet friends yesterday was like, dude, what's your deal with Mike White? It's like, no, it's not Mike White. It's idiots like you that's texting me that think he's like, they should trade Zach Wilson. That's where I'm like, no, you guys are idiots. Sorry. And you saw there yesterday. Again, he's good. I get it. He's a high-level backup quarterback. Maybe he can develop into being a low-level starter. I don't see any physical gifts to make me think, oh, well, watch out for this guy in the future. Right. Wasn't good in the pocket yesterday. Wasn't good in the pocket in the Colts game. It's why he got hurt. He doesn't understand, wait, they're bearing down on you. You can't just throw the ball with your normal throwing motion and still throw it.
And why would he? He has very little experience. Right?
I understand that. So there's that. And then, of course, the decisions, what you saw yesterday and everything, it all unraveled. So, again, it's not personal to Mike White. I have a lot of respect for what you did, how you've handled yourself. I'm all cool with that. It's more on the Jets fan base that needs to shut up. And, yes, I think we'll probably see Zach Wilson here soon.
You don't dislike Mike White. You just dislike the people who like Mike White.
Well,
that's all you. That's simple enough.
Well, to me, it's just a bigger, again, the bigger theme.
It was way reactionary.
Exactly right. And a reactionary, Ahmed, and I don't even know, you might have not been here for this, but going into that game where he threw against the the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
I mean, the Jets were getting crucified up here by the same fans that Mike White was the backup. Like, how stupid are they to have him as the backup?
Yeah.
And then it was 4 days later, and it was, let's trade Zach Wilson and go with Mike White.
Yeah.
And I haven't been able to listen to New York Sports Radio.
You know what? Jets fans, they're looking for something positive.
Yeah.
They thought maybe they had something, and now it's gone.
No, it is gone.
But you know who's back?
Yeah. Who?
Cam Newton.
I'm back.
Which, when you yell like that in a crowded, loud area, you do have to go higher pitch.
Yeah.
It's like he had to go a few octaves higher than his normal voice to hear it on the broadcast, which we did.
Yes, we did.
Cam Newton did it, played 9 snaps. He scored a rushing touchdown on his first running snap. He threw for a touchdown on his first passing snap in the year. So here it is. If you're watching on YouTube here, 43rd career game with a pass TD and a rush TD that extends his NFL record. First game with the Panthers since week 2 of the 2019 season. It's just more proof that the NFL has the best script writers of any league that has ever existed.
It's amazing.
It's like the storylines that are produced in the NFL are amazing.
It really is. I'm very happy for him. I really am, first off. Again, I know not everybody loves Cam, but I do think he pours his heart and soul into the sport. I do. And he is, a legend of the sport. So I think that's the big thing that jumps out to me. But, the magic formula, and we'll see what they do with Cam going forward. I don't know if they make him the starter or not. The one thing I always say with Cam, he's going to bring energy to your football team. You saw a little spark there yesterday. You saw a spark from Carolina that you haven't seen, right? That's the Cam Newton effect. He has that ability. And then, as I've always said, even with New England, I know New England released him. I get that. But, man, it was a lot of positive things New England said about him until he kind of messed up the COVID testing protocol and all that.
You think that's when it went south, really, for them?
I think so. I think that's where it became like, wait, Max just continues to get better, and Cam's a little bit, not dependable that way, and that probably scared them. To me, that's where it went off. But up to that point, listen, I talked to people up there. He was loved. There was love for the things I'm talking about.
They thought he was a better leader his first year than Tom was at the end.
Exactly. And then, and then the other thing I think with Cam too is, as you've probably heard me say before, he has a presence about him. And when you go on the field with Cam Newton, you go, I feel like we got a chance. I don't know why, but because that big sucker's the quarterback and we got a chance. So yesterday, Cam Newton, McCaffrey being back was huge. Mm-hmm. I mean, McCaffrey was phenomenal, not only in the run game, but the pass game. And they rode him hard that way, too. He changes their football team. Yeah, they're struggling passing the ball and moving the ball. But you got Cam now who can add a few wrinkles to the run game, right? And now you got McCaffrey coming out of the backfield in the pass game. And you got to worry about his ability to break big runs. And it changes their team a little bit. You see how talented their defense is, right? Their defense is extremely talented. It's one of the best in football. It is. I know it's fallen off a little bit as late, but when your offense is shit all the time, it's hard to just hold down the fort all the time. And then here's my last thing, too. Because, the Cardinals struggled, but this is another one, another fourth down. I don't get.
Oh, boy.
I don't get. Who did we just talk about it a minute ago? The Falcons at 7-3. It was 4th and 7, I think, on the Falcons one they went for it, too. And they have a pretty good kicker. Okay, so this one, it's 7-0. The Carolina Panthers have not done shit on offense in 5 weeks. You're going to go for it on a 4th and 1? Where were they on their they weren't even at midfield. I think they were at the 42-yard line. 42-yard line. Your defense has been great all year. Punt the ball and pin them down there. And see if P.J. Walker, who's making his first or second NFL start in the history of his life, can move the ball down the field again. That, to me, was stupid. I'm sure the analytics said to go for it, and if you make it, you'll win the game 99.9% sure until that 0.01% comes back and you lose.
Yeah.
Like, no. Like, shut up. That to me was so stupid. Bad decision right there, and that gave Carolina the jump, and they kind of kept it going there. From there, Colt McCoy, they drive down. He then tries to run to the right, throw the back ball across the middle of the field, right? It gets intercepted. I don't care who you are. Two mistakes like that, even when you're the best team in football like the Arizona Cardinals, it's the NFL. You're going to be in deep trouble if that happens.
So what's going to happen next with Carolina at the quarterback position? Because P.J. Walker wasn't bad.
No, he's not bad.
22 of 29 gives him some stuff, some mobility too there, just like Cam. Matt Rule said this morning, quote, "I don't want Cam light. I want the full Cam. We'll give Cam most of the reps and get him up to speed as much as possible." Mike Florio has said that he is expected to start next week, and he would start against his old coach, Ron Rivera, and Washington, a defense that might be without Chase Young there. So, I mean, you think Cam will just eventually take over as he's the guy, he's the full-time starter?
It sounds like it's been sounding like that from the get-go, from when they've, and even people I've talked to around the league. P.J. Walker, first off, did do a good job. You're exactly right. We need to give him credit. He's a good little player. You know, he's another guy I would throw into, like, low-level starter, high-end backup. You know, he is. He controls the ball well, but I think they know their offense isn't as great as it should be. I think Matt Rule's smart and knows that people have caught on to the Joe Brady passing system a little bit too, and I think he knows that they need to play through their defense, which is their elite unit, and Cam Newton running the football gives them just a little bit of another schematical thing to think about that helps Joe Brady out, and then I think it goes into the thing we just talked about, Ahmed. His leadership, his presence, his energy he brings, that's why he's saying that's why we want the full Cam Newton. He knows there's a real effect there. And you know, Matt Rule, who I know talks to Bill Parcells, I'm sure has heard plenty of stories from the New England coaching staff about Cam Newton and understands kind of what the guy he is, let alone from people that might have been around in Carolina when Cam Newton left the first time.
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey said that Cam brings an energy unlike anyone that he has ever known.
That's
he has ever known before.
Everybody says it.
And is there any other team? I can't even think of another team that could have used that energy more than the Carolina Panthers, because an elite defense, a playoff defense for sure.
Definitely. A playoff defense.
But an offense that was just so depressing to watch.
Yeah.
So like a team that's still in the mix, that still has a chance to do something this year. They needed that energy, and they got it. And you wonder, I mean, like, is this it for Sam Darnold?
Yeah, it is in Carolina for sure. It's it.
What about anywhere?
Yeah, I mean, his injury itself, I think, is borderline for him to get back by the end of the year. Yeah. And I think they've already said, nah, you're done for the year. And they've seen enough. I think that's it for him. He's going to be relegated to a backup quarterback spot, and he's going to have to earn his way to be a starter again. Don't count out the Carolina Panthers because of the things you just said. Carolina certainly can still go to the playoffs because you said it. You know, when they got a good front four. They got extremely athletic linebackers. You know, their secondary's versatile and, of course, very good there. And how good for Hassan Reddick. You know, I want to say that about him too. Kind of getting the jump off with a strip sack early in the game. He came from Arizona, give him the short field for that first touchdown that got them going. But, hey, what a gift when you get a strip sack for a 15-yard touchdown drive, and then the next drive, the team decides to go for it on fourth down on their own territory, and now you have a 40-yard drive for a touchdown. That'll make your offense feel good anytime. Now they think, whoa, we're moving the ball today. Look at us. We're kind of on fire. And that's where I did not agree with the Cliff Kingsbury decision there.
These football games can get very short.
They can get very short.
Very short.
Exactly.
You're down 14-0, and all of a sudden it's halftime,
and you're playing a game you don't want to play. You start to panic. Yes, no doubt about that.
It's a young defense for Carolina, but credit to Shaq Thompson.
Yeah.
Once again, 7th year there in Carolina, 1 sack, couple quarterback hits, had 2 pass breakups
They
as well.
They were flying around yesterday. They overwhelmed
defense.
Arizona.
Such a fun defense to watch.
It is.
And the offense was actually fun to watch this past week. So Carolina gets the win over the Cardinals. That's a statement win.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.